Harry's Wife, part 103.13. She shoots herself in the foot. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. I have explained on many occasions how unaware narcissists, i.e. lesser or mid-range and the various subschools thereof, engage in behaviours where they shoot themselves in the foot, cut their noses off to spite their faces, all as a consequence of collateral consequences. Why? Well, quite simply, the narcissism is expert and very effective at gaining the prime aims in that moment. But in order to do so, their narcissism is not refined enough, not evolved enough to do so without the potential for there to be collateral consequences. There aren't always collateral consequences, but there often are. So, for example, the middle lesser hits somebody to assert control, which then in the next moment leads to them being arrested. The middle mid-ranger type B does out a pity play and backstabs somebody in order to assert control indirectly over that person, only for it to then later backfire when their behaviours are exposed to a wider group who then turn against them. You might think, well, if that's the case, why don't they learn from their mistakes and not repeat them? The point is, the narcissism won't let them. Why? They're not mistakes. It's always somebody else's fault. You made me hit you, and now I've lost my job. Thanks very much. I don't know why you're all turning against me. I was only telling the truth about this person. You're all hypocrites. The narcissist can never see that they are at fault. Even where there appears to be an admission, it's not a genuine one. There will always be a caveat, a condition, a clause associated with it to either just dismiss accountability or place the blame elsewhere. Harry's Wife, as a mid-range narcissist, is also somebody that experiences this repeated instance of shooting herself in the foot. And as her narcissism scrambles to assert control over more and more people that are threatening her control, we see that the proverbial chickens of authenticity have started to come home to roost. In cheatseat.com, an article by Shereza Nago tells us Harry's wife has become unemployable because people are scared to work with her, according to Royal Expert. Harry's wife is working toward establishing her brand and building financial independence. As a result, she has shared information about her personal life during interviews and on her podcast, Archetypes. She has also revealed some of the disappointments she says she has experienced during her career. One royal expert says Harry's wife's efforts are having the opposite effect. He believes some of the things she said will cause brands to hesitate to work with her. For example, he says her recent criticisms of Vanity Fair and Deal or No Deal could make future brand partnerships difficult for her. In the expert's opinion, Harry's wife has become unemployable. Royal expert Neil Shawn says the Duchess of Sussex is trying to reinvent herself, now that she's no longer a senior working royal. According to him, her goal is to be likeable so she can build her brand. I would say that ship has very much sailed. However, Shawn says there are problems looming with Harry's wife's attempts at reinvention. Shawn says one issue is that Harry's wife is doing multiple interviews where she talks about one problem after another. According to him, she's spending a lot of time discussing things that went wrong and how poorly she has been treated. Pity play, revision of history, blame shifting. She kind of scatterguns these interviews around the world, says Shawn during his online commentary. She says one thing to Oprah, another thing to another journalist. You can't seem to keep up. It does seem to be one problem after another. What we must understand is this is representative of her narcissism dealing with threats in the moment. Her narcissism doesn't call a general meeting at the start of the day and basically say, right, lads, we're facing 15 threats to control today. We're going to approach it in this way. 13 of them, we're just going to simply assert control over them by withdrawal and pay them no attention whatsoever. And we're going to issue press releases to deal with the other two, and they're going to be consistent. Everybody in agreement? Yes, absolutely. Good. I now declare this meeting of the Narcissist Collective over. Let's go and implement it. Her narcissism doesn't work like that. Instead, as each and every threat to control arises, her narcissism responds, like shock troops being parachuted in to deal with the problem. And it deals with problem A by complaining about the way that she's been treated. Then problem B by complaining about the way that she's been treated, having no reference or regard to what she had said an hour earlier in relation to problem A. And she says similar in relation to problem C, D, E, F, G, and H. And rather than pause and think, hang on a second, having said that in relation to problems A to H, this is kind of making me look like a bit of a whinger in a wine bag. Maybe I should dial it back a little. She doesn't. She continues to deal with problem I, J, K, L, M, N, O, and P, all in a similar vein, about how she's hard done to, that she was objectified, that she was bimboed, and that this wasn't right. She didn't like the way that it made her feel. She wanted to be there to be assessed upon her intellect and smarts rather than her looks. And because her narcissism operates on an ad hoc, in-the-moment basis, again underpinning the fact that she is not calculating, that she is not a strategist, although many of you do think that she is, the evidence demonstrates time and time again that she is far from that because of these schoolgirl errors that she repeatedly makes. Her narcissism functions by effectively firefighting, and it does it well with regard to the assertion of control and drawing of fuel in that moment. But it then generates the collateral consequence of she's seen as being a whinger, she's seen as being an habitual smearer, a liar, a fantasist, a revisionist of history. And thus, this then creates a problem with regard to the way that people view her, and also has the collateral consequence that brands may well say, she's a bit iffy, this one, better not have some involvement with her. And that is what is happening. Returning to the article, Sean says some of the statements Harry's wife made during her interviews could negatively affect her ability to get new deals. According to him, she has not been careful. Now, it looks like she has become unmarketable, says Sean. But more importantly, she's not very careful and allegedly unemployable. According to Sean, Harry's wife's employability and marketability have declined because of her tendency to be critical. He mentions comments she made about her time on Deal or No Deal as one of the suitcase presenters. We saw the debacle against Deal or No Deal, where she claimed about her time as a suitcase girl for 44 episodes, says Sean. If she didn't like it, why did you stick it out for so long? That would be my advice, says Sean. And then now we've got the reclassification of that Netflix documentary, which of course she's stepping back from, ready to blame the executive producer when that gets some bad rap. Sean goes on to talk about Harry's wife's tell-all interview with the Cut. He says she let her guard down during that discussion and revealed a lot of information. Sean believes Harry's wife's candid discussions will backfire. She didn't let her guard down. She just spouted nonsense and it was reported. That's how she behaves. Of course, she operates a facade, which some people would interpret as a guard. And in a way, it kind of is. But she doesn't actually sit there thinking, I've got to be guarded with this individual. In the context of the Cut interview, she thought, well, this is a platform for me to spout all of my nonsense, and therefore her inability to distinguish between gutter and visceral, and then interpreting her sounds, and all of that nonsense about invisible hands, lighting candles, etc., was all her. The article continues. I've been told by a very good source that people will be very scared to take her on, because seemingly at some point she will turn around and bite you. Well, that's invariably a way that a narcissist will often function. Not always, but repeatedly can be the case. And that's the problem, you know. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, if they feel that you're really documenting this experience for later use to portray yourself in a totally different light. Sean predicts future deals for Harry's wife, and Harry will slow down. The deals will get smaller, and the offers will become more minute, says Sean. More importantly for Harry's wife, people will simply not trust her to be in their employ for fear of a backlash. And that is representative of the downward spiral that she's experiencing. That her behaviour is causing more people to see through her and turn against her, which in turn impacts upon those residual benefits of deals, endorsements and sponsorship. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.